Hey y'all, it's Megan. If you're returning to my channel, welcome back. And if you are new, then welcome aboard. Sorry, I probably parked in like the worst possible spot for lighting. It was cloudy until I turned my camera on. And then the sun came out, so light coming from this direction, and we're just gonna roll with it. So today I am going to do another story time. Not really story time. Funny like guest stories. Little mini story times, and I'm gonna talk about funny things that kids have said on my boats, because children, from the mouth of babes, you know, kids say the darndest things. All those things apply. Kids are gonna be just beacons of honesty, and sometimes they're not trying to be funny. They never are trying to be funny, but it comes out that way. So here's a few. I think I'm gonna do 3 fun. My husband was texting me about roses. We're trying to finish our backyard. Anyway, here is, I think I'm gonna do 3 funny things that kids said while I was working at Disney. One that stands out is at the end of a cruise one time, there's a little girl who was sitting right up next to me the entire time, and when we got back and I had hung up the mic and, you know, had docked the boat and everyone was getting off, she was like, "Excuse me," and I was like, "Yeah, well, what's up?" And I turned to her and she said, "I just want to let you know, I really like this ride." And I was like, "Oh, good." And she's like, "I do it all the time. And you did pretty good, but you forgot 2 things. You didn't talk about the butterflies at the very beginning, and you didn't let somebody drive your boat. But other than that, I think you did a good job." And I was like, "Thank you." How many times has this little girl, I mean, she was probably 5 or 6, like, how many times has this little girl ridden the Jungle Cruise that she knows all of the possible jokes and like things that can be mentioned? I mean, not even just jokes, but like points that can be mentioned enough to point out that I did not talk about the butterflies in the Amazon, and I also did not let anyone drive my boat, which I didn't do all the time. A lot of times I did that for Make-A-Wish kids if they were able to, or if someone specifically asked me. If anyone ever said, "Can I drive the boat?" then I would of course let them. But I want to say that was pretty early in my program, and I was still trying to like figure things out, so I wasn't gonna be like, "Hey, small child, come up here and be my skipper for me." But so yeah, she graded me on my skippering performance, and I thought that was pretty funny. Another one that was another kid that was pointing out the obvious. We're going through the headhunter territory, which is really not the best place to be headed, but you come around the corner and the natives attack. You know, the natives attack, and the skipper freaks out. We jump down and we're like, get down, don't be heroes. Sir, in the back, I know that you're paralyzed with fear, but please, get down. And we're dramatic. That's kind of the deal. And this kid sitting, again, right up next to me, he just taps me on the shoulder and goes, "They're not real. Stand up." I'm like, "Thank you, sir. I will do that." So I just awkwardly stood back up and kept driving the boat, because there was no reason for me to panic, apparently, and young Squire would like for me to know that, and bless him, he's probably going to be some kind of very centered human being that can control himself very well as an adult, and he's not going to panic and freak out about little things. I am not that person. I was not that person when I was 4, and he is, so good for him. And yes, the natives are not going to be attacking for real. The last funny thing that a kid said is my favorite thing that a funny kid said the entire time. And if it had been said now, it would be even more true. But if you're familiar with the Bippity Boppity Boutique, that is where young little princesses can go, and they get all done up, they get dressed up, they do their hair, they do their makeup, everything is princessed out. And they sometimes Tinkerbell will sprinkle some pixie dust in the hair. So this particular little girl, I believe she was dressed like Jasmine. I want to say she was Jasmine, and she was once again sitting right next to me up at the front. And at the very end of the cruise, the same place that the first little girl informed me how I had done on the cruise, this little girl again says, "Excuse me," very polite, these children, very good. And I was like, "Yeah, honey, what's up?" So, like, you know, at Disney they teach you to kind of come down to the kids level, which I'm 5 feet tall. I'm almost there anyway. But I squatted down a little bit more, and I'm like right down there, you know, everyone's getting off the boat, and I was like, yeah, what's up? And she says, I just want you to know, you wear a lot of makeup. Thank you. A little girl with confetti covering her hair and blue eyeshadow to her eyebrows just told me that I wear a lot of makeup. I have some things that I need to reevaluate in life. Now, if she had said that about me, like, now, kind of would understand it. I'm gonna insert a picture of what my makeup looked like at Disney. There wasn't much of it. I think it was probably just because I wore fake eyelashes there too, and that was probably like really distracting to her, I guess. I don't know. But the fact that a little girl who was wearing more makeup than I own, with confetti in her hair, just looked me in the face and said, you wear a lot of makeup, and then flounced off the boat. That was a high point in my Jungle Cruise career, honestly. That was the funniest thing that happened to me. Children are so honest and so adorable, and you just never quite know what's gonna come out of those little mouths. Those are just a couple of the funny things that happened. Obviously, when you work at Disney, you encounter children more than even you encounter adults. It's a kid-friendly place. It's a family place. So you're going to have some interesting encounters with children, and honestly, most of them are good. You very seldom have an awkward or like rude child, and that's why I think that child interactions are so great, because they are honest. Sometimes they're not trying to be funny, but they definitely are. And I think those are some of the best interactions that you can have, is when they don't even think that, they're just telling you how it is. And then, you know, I'm over here dying laughing, or, you know, I'm embarrassed because, yep, you know what, those natives are not gonna throw that spear at me, and I was just freaking out for no reason. Thank you, young Dalai Lama. But those are just a few of them. There's definitely more, so we'll come back with those some other time, I'm sure. But in the meantime, if you have any suggestions for future videos, things that you want to know, if you have questions about anything, college program or otherwise, let me know those down below, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, y'all.